Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. If you've ever felt the pressure to be perfect, to keep smiling while your world is quietly crumbling, then you're going to want to pay close attention. Today, we're peeling back the pristine, sun-drenched facade of 1950s suburbia to explore Meagan Church's gripping historical suspense novel, The Mad Wife. This book is much more than a domestic thriller. It's a chilling, essential commentary on identity, motherhood, and the devastating cost of conformity in a world where women's mental health was pathologized, ignored, or worse, punished. It asks a terrifying question. What happens when the role you are forced to play makes you lose sight of who you really are, and everyone around you thinks you're the one who's truly unraveling? We're going to dive deep into the stifling world of Greenwood Estates, meet the troubled protagonist, Lulu Mayfield, and explore the dark secrets hidden behind the perfect gelatin salads and the immaculate lawn. It's a story that feels both deeply historical and uncomfortably modern, an emotional journey that will leave you angry, heartbroken, and utterly captivated. But before we step across that perfectly manicured threshold, please take a moment to hit that like button if you appreciate historical fiction that challenges the status quo. Drop a comment below and tell me, what era of history do you think was the toughest for women? And, if you haven't already, subscribe to join our community for more insightful book summaries and literary deep dives. Your support is what allows us to keep exploring these powerful stories. The novel immediately plunges us into the world of Greenwood Estates in the 1950s, a time defined by post-war prosperity, rigid social conformity, and the idealized image of the nuclear family. At the center of this world is Lulu Mayfield, the picture-perfect housewife who is essentially defined by her domestic accomplishments. Lulu's entire identity is quite literally molded by her environment. She has spent 5 years meticulously crafting herself into the ideal mid-century wife. Her domestic prowess is symbolized by her legendary, towering gelatin salads, the epitome of intricate, controlled 1950s entertaining. She's been crowned the Queen of Molded Food by her friends, a title that both amuses her and acts as a tight, restricting leash of expectation. Imagine the pressure of knowing your entire social worth depends on a wobbly, perfect culinary creation. When Lulu gives birth to her second child, a daughter named Esther, this carefully constructed world begins to teeter. The exhaustion, the physical pain of nursing, the non-stop demands of a toddler and a newborn, and the sheer isolation of being a mother in that era, with a husband who returns to work on her very first postpartum day, focusing instead on his own career ladder, cause the cracks to show. Lulu's internal monologue reveals the utter lack of true support. She struggles with the feeling that Henry loves the idea of a complete family more than the grueling reality of raising one. Bitsy appears to be everything Lulu is struggling to be: flawless, composed, and effortlessly perfect. She is the embodiment of the 1950s ideal, always smiling, always in control. Lulu is immediately, intensely fixated on her. Bitsy becomes a distorted mirror, initially representing the impossible standard that Lulu must achieve, but quickly morphing into something more unsettling. Lulu, watching from her kitchen window, begins to suspect that something darker lurks beneath Bitsy's constant, unwavering smile. This obsession leads Lulu down a rabbit hole of suspicion. She starts digging, convinced the new neighbor is hiding a terrible secret. The more Lulu probes Bitsy's seemingly perfect life, the more the lines between reality and imagination blur in her own mind. This is where Church brilliantly employs the unreliable narrator technique, forcing the reader to constantly question: is Lulu a brave detective uncovering a genuine secret? Or is her mind, already fractured by postpartum trauma and past grief, truly unraveling into paranoia? Her erratic actions, like smelling colors, having sensory overload from ordinary sounds, or experiencing bouts of severe insomnia, only further confirm her neighbor's worst suspicions. In the 1950s, a woman expressing unhappiness, anxiety, or emotional distress was often pathologized with the archaic diagnosis of hysteria. Lulu's suffering, which today we recognize as severe postpartum depression, PPD, and anxiety exacerbated by past trauma and the isolation of housewifery, is universally dismissed as a failure to conform, a sign of female madness. It's the ultimate gaslighting. Her real physical and mental pain is invalidated and medicalized for the sake of her husband's comfort and the neighborhood's placid appearance. Lulu is not sad. She's sick in a way that requires silencing, not healing. The novel's tension escalates as Lulu's investigation of Bitsy forces her to confront the ghosts of her own past, all while battling the medical establishment and her husband. Lulu's present-day struggle is inextricably linked to a difficult rural childhood marked by profound, unspoken loss and guilt. Church strategically weaves in fragmented flashbacks, revealing the tragic death of her father and a debilitating illness that crippled her beloved brother, Georgie. Lulu carries an immense, lingering sense of responsibility and dread for the suffering of those she loves. These memories surface during her sleepless nights, amplifying her current anxiety. Through the relationship between Lulu and Henry, the novel makes a profound statement about systemic, societal deception. Henry, preoccupied with his career and his image, fails to see his wife's genuine pain. His love seems conditional. He loves the perfect image of the wife and family he helped create, not the complicated, suffering woman beneath the apron. He is more concerned with how Lulu's behavior reflects on him and his chances for a promotion than he is with her well-being. He accepts the medical diagnosis because it's the easiest path back to his desired stability. This dynamic is a powerful critique of the gender roles of the 1950s, where men's success was often predicated on their wives' silent, uncompensated, and emotionally crippling domestic labor. The ultimate betrayal isn't necessarily malice, but Henry's inability or unwillingness to see his wife as a whole person with needs and a mind outside of her domestic role. The final shattering turns of the novel confirm that the horror in The Mad Wife isn't supernatural. It's domestic and historical, culminating in a quest for truth and a fight for self-preservation. The book's climax delivers a surprising, gut-wrenching twist that recontextualizes Lulu's entire journey. Meagan Church masterfully pulls the rug out from under the reader, revealing a horrifying truth about the secrets hidden in the perfect neighborhood. The final revelations about Bitsy, Henry, and Lulu's own past not only definitively answer the central question of her sanity, but also expose a horrifying, enduring truth about the control and subjugation women faced. This realization is devastating, yet ultimately liberating. It transforms Lulu's story from a portrait of a woman breaking down into a powerful narrative of resilience and survival. Her obsessive, mad pursuit of the truth, though appearing erratic to others, was her desperate, intuitive attempt to regain her voice and her hold on reality in a world determined to silence her. She fights back with the only tools she has left: her intelligence, her memory, and her conviction. The ending is not a neat, happy resolution, but a profound, hard-won statement of self-possession and clarity in the face of immense trauma. The Mad Wife is a book that transcends its historical setting because it tackles themes that, while rooted in the 1950s, echo uncomfortably into the present day. The pathologizing of postpartum mood disorders, the lack of support for mothers, the pressures of the have-it-all mandate, and the fight for bodily and mental autonomy are battles that still resonate globally. How often do we still see women today struggling with PPD or anxiety, only to have their exhaustion or sadness minimized as a moral failing or simply being dramatic? Church's work serves as an essential, unflinching testament to the strength it takes to seek the truth when everyone is telling you your reality is wrong. It forces us to acknowledge how cultural norms and medical practices have historically been used to control and minimize women's emotional and psychological lives. It's a poignant and necessary story that compels us to look beyond the surface of domestic bliss and to demand better understanding and support for women's mental health. Lulu's final state is one of survival and hard-won self-knowledge, a crucial distinction from the fate of many women in her era. What a journey! The Mad Wife is a book that pulls you in with the suspense of a thriller, but leaves you contemplating the profound historical and social truths it exposes long after the last page. Lulu Mayfield's story is a compelling, heartbreaking piece of historical fiction that ensures the silenced voices of women in the past are heard today. If you found this summary engaging and insightful, please show your support. Hit that like button right now. Comment below with a single word that describes how Lulu's story made you feel: suffocated, resilient, or unseen. I'd love to read your thoughts. Your feedback helps us pick the next great book. And if you want more deep dive analyses and thoughtful breakdowns of the best historical fiction and thrillers, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and ring that notification bell. We explore powerful stories every week. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.